You have seen it before, maybe in a video, maybe in a photo, maybe in the home of someone you visited once and never forgot. A house with a dog, or two cats, or both, and yet the floors are clean. The furniture does not smell. There is no visible hair collecting in the corners. No muddy prints trailing from the door to the kitchen. No that particular heaviness in the air that most pet owners have simply accepted as the price of loving an animal. You stood there and thought, how? Not how in the sense of what product are they using. How in the sense of what are they doing fundamentally differently than everyone else. The answer is not a vacuum. It is not an air purifier with a specific filter rating. It is not a breed that sheds less or a cat that somehow stays cleaner than other cats. The answer is a set of deeply embedded habits, organized around a single idea that Japanese households have practiced for generations. Not cleanliness as a goal you work toward. Cleanliness as a condition you maintain through small, consistent, almost invisible behaviors that happen before the mess has a chance to exist. This is the difference that does not show up in any product review. The Japanese do not clean more. They interrupt the mess earlier. And with pets in the home, that distinction is everything. To understand how Japanese households manage cleanliness with pets, you first have to understand the Genkan, not as an architectural feature, as a philosophy made physical. The Genkan is the transitional space at the entrance of a Japanese home. It sits slightly lower than the rest of the house, separated by a step that is not merely structural but symbolic. On one side, the outside world. On the other, the home. And the rule that governs this boundary is absolute and non-negotiable. Nothing from outside crosses it without being processed first. Shoes come off before that step. Always. Not sometimes. Not when you remember. Always. And what this means in practical terms is that an enormous category of contamination, street-level bacteria, outdoor allergens, pesticides, pollutants, the biological residue of everywhere you have been that day, is stopped at the door before it ever touches the surfaces where your family sits, sleeps, and breathes. Now apply this to pets. A dog that goes outside for a walk does not simply walk back inside when the walk is over. In households that take the Genkan philosophy seriously, the dog is received at the threshold the same way a person is. What came from outside stays outside, or is removed before crossing. This means pause. Every time. Not with a full bath. Not with anything complicated. A damp cloth kept at the entrance, warm water in a small basin, a dedicated towel hanging near the door. 30 seconds. Both front paws, both back paws, a quick wipe along the belly if the walk was wet. It sounds like a small thing. It is not a small thing. Paws are the primary vehicle through which outdoor contaminants enter your home. Pesticides from treated lawns. Bacteria from sidewalks. Pollen during high seasons. Microscopic particles that land on your floors, transfer to your hands, and eventually reach your face. Japanese households with dogs often keep a small ashirai station at the Genkan, a low shelf or basket holding everything needed for the arrival ritual. Wipes, a warm water spray bottle, a soft towel dedicated to this purpose alone. The routine becomes automatic within 2 weeks. The dog learns to wait. The owner learns to do it without thinking. And the floors inside reflect the difference immediately and permanently. Cats present a different challenge because cats do not walk with you. But cats that go outside carry the same contamination on their paws and a gentle wipe on return, combined with a dedicated entry mat they instinctively cross, captures a significant portion of what they would otherwise distribute across every surface they jump onto. The Genkan is not a cleaning tool. It is a prevention architecture. And prevention, in any system designed to stay clean with animals in it, is worth 10 times the effort of cleaning after the fact. There is a word in Japanese that has no direct English equivalent, Katazuke. It translates roughly as tidying, but that translation loses something essential. Katazuke is not tidying as an event. It is not the Saturday morning where you reset the house after a week of accumulated disorder. Katazuke is the ongoing, continuous, almost reflexive act of returning things to their proper place the moment they leave it. It is maintenance practiced in real time, in increments so small they barely register as effort, which is precisely why they work. Applied to life with pets, Katazuke means something very specific. You do not let the hair accumulate until it is visible and then vacuum it. You run a lint roller over the sofa cushion when you notice the first layer forming. You wipe the water bowl area when you walk past and see a splash. You straighten the pet bed when you pass it in the morning. None of these actions takes more than 15 seconds. Individually, they are invisible. Collectively, they mean your home never reaches the state that requires a major cleaning effort, because that state never arrives. Western cleaning culture tends to operate in bursts. Let things accumulate, then reset. This works for homes without animals. It does not work well for homes with them, because animals contribute to disorder continuously, not in weekly cycles. A dog sheds every hour of every day. A cat leaves dander on every surface it contacts. A bird distributes feather dust in a constant invisible cloud. The burst approach cannot keep pace with continuous input. Katazuke can, because it matches the rhythm of the problem. Small, continuous, constant. The mess never builds momentum because it is interrupted at the moment of formation. Most people think about cleanliness in terms of what they can see. The floor, the furniture, the visible hair on the dark fabric of the sofa. But in a home with pets, the most significant contamination is the one you cannot see, because it is suspended in the air you are breathing. Pet dander is not hair. Hair you can vacuum. Dander is microscopic protein particles shed continuously from skin, and in a home without deliberate air management, these particles accumulate in concentrations that affect sleep quality, respiratory health, and the chronic low-level inflammation that most pet owners attribute to everything except the actual cause. Japanese homes have practiced deliberate ventilation for centuries. The concept of toshifu, the practice of opening the home to moving air at specific times of day, is embedded in the daily rhythm of households across the country. Morning ventilation. Cross-ventilation in the afternoon. The home is treated as a system that needs to breathe, not just a structure that contains air. For pet owners, this habit is not optional. It is the difference between air that accumulates biological load over time and air that is regularly cleared and refreshed. Open 2 windows on opposite sides of your home for 15 minutes every morning. Not cracked. Open. Let the cross-current move through. What leaves with it is not simply stale air. It is the accumulated dander, the volatile organic compounds from pet beds and food, the airborne bacteria that settle on surfaces and contribute to the baseline odor that guests notice before you do. Pair this with a HEPA filter in the room where your pet spends the most time, kept running continuously, not as a supplement to ventilation, but as a complement to it. The filter captures what ventilation does not eliminate. Together they manage what no amount of surface cleaning can address alone. Smell is the final frontier of pet ownership. You can have clean floors, pristine furniture, invisible hair, and still walk into a home that announces, before anything else, that animals live here. The reason is almost always the same. 3 sources that most pet owners clean reactively instead of managing preventively: the bed, the bowl area, and the animal itself. In Japanese pet care culture, the ofuro concept extends to animals. Regular bathing, appropriate to the species and coat type, is not a monthly event triggered by visible dirtiness. It is a scheduled rhythm, consistent enough that the animal's skin microbiome never reaches the bacterial load that produces noticeable odor. For dogs, this means bathing on a fixed schedule, every 1 to 2 weeks for short coats, every 10 days for longer ones, using a gentle, pH-appropriate shampoo that does not strip the oils that make the coat protective. Between baths, dry shampoo powder applied during a brief brushing session absorbs the oils that carry odor before they concentrate. Pet beds are washed on the same day every week, not when they smell, every week regardless. Because by the time you can smell it, the bacterial concentration is already significant. Weekly washing keeps the load below the threshold of perception. The bowl area is wiped down after every meal. Water bowls are emptied, rinsed, and refilled daily. The film that forms on the interior of a water bowl that sits for multiple days is a bacterial colony. It contributes to odor. It also affects the animal's willingness to drink, which affects their health. None of this is difficult. All of it is consistent. That is the practice, not intensity. Regularity. The same actions on the same schedule before the problem announces itself. There is a concept in Japanese design called the meaningful pause, the intentional empty space that gives everything around it its clarity and its purpose. Applied to life with pets, means something practical and specific. A clean home with animals is not clean because someone is constantly cleaning it. It is clean because it was designed, in small and deliberate ways, so that disorder has fewer places to accumulate and fewer pathways into the spaces that matter. This means dedicated surfaces. A pet corner with a washable mat that contains the eating area and is easy to lift and clean. A single designated spot for the bed, away from upholstered furniture, where hair stays in one predictable location. Slip covers on the sofa, not as a compromise but as a design choice, chosen to be washed weekly along with the pet bed. It means storage that removes clutter from the equation. Toys returned to a basket at the end of each day. Leads and harnesses hung at the Genkan, not left on chairs. Food kept sealed in airtight containers that prevent the ambient smell of kibble from becoming the baseline scent of your kitchen. It means materials chosen with the reality of animals in mind. Floors that do not trap hair. Fabrics that release it. Surfaces that can be wiped rather than scrubbed. You are not managing a clean home despite having pets. You are designing a home that stays clean because you built the conditions for it. The animal did not change. The architecture around the animal did. And the effort required to maintain it dropped to something that no longer feels like effort at all. That is the secret. Not a product, not a technique. A system built from small decisions, practiced with enough consistency that the home takes care of itself because you taught it how.